I'm going to read a disadvantage right now. I'm going to read a disadvantage. Alright? Uniqueness. Lots of orange markers exist now. Link that affirmative gets rid of all orange markers, and orange markers are good. Alright? Yeah, no. What would an impact turn be? You say the opposite of this impact, right? Orange markers are bad. Does that answer this disadvantage? Yeah. Right? Orange markers can exist. You can get rid of them, right? Because they could be bad. Right? What if this was not good and the affirmative got rid of it? Then that's an advantage to the affirmative, right? Alright. What if orange markers don't exist and the act creates orange markers? So, in the first scenario, you didn't answer the uniqueness and the link, and you just answered the impact, right? In this scenario, you don't answer the impact, and you answered the uniqueness and the link. So if orange markers don't exist, and I create with my affirmative orange markers, are orange markers still good? Yes, because I create them, so I want them to be good. That is a link term, because you read the uniqueness and the link in the opposite direction. Is anyone still not with me? Did everyone get this a little better?
What about this one here? So affirmative wants to get rid of that, so that links to orange marker. This one here.
This.
Yeah.
This is the 1MC. The things that I've been writing here. So this is your first option, which is a link term. Your second option would be to say impact term. And you can't do both of these at the same time, because if you did, what is this now? Orange markers don't exist. The app creates orange markers, and orange markers are bad. It sounds like a disadvantage, doesn't it?
You either do 1 or 2.
1 or 2, not 1 and 2. Ever. Alright? So for discover, how could you answer discover? Could you just say solar storms are good?
No.
In the 1NC, the 1AC says solar storms are bad, right?
1AC.
The 1AC says solar storms are bad. In the 1NC,
No.
I can impact term the affirmative and answer the whole thing by just saying solar storms are good, right?
Oh, they aren't.
A lot.
Well, theoretically I could,
Oh,
if only the solar storm's advantage was right. Now I could also answer the affirmative by saying that a solar storm is not coming right now, and the affirmative creates a solar storm. Because that still agrees that a solar storm is bad. Now, like, that's probably not true, but that's just an example. Does everyone get that? So you can impact and link turn on the affirmative and on the negative. A lot of people are just like, I don't need to write a specific strategy, because if you say it's good, I say it's bad. You say it's bad, I say it's good. You say it's good, I say it's bad. That's my research. I'm not going to debate you on any specifics of your affirmative, just whether or not the impacts of it are good or bad. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. No, I'm joking. All right. What's your affirmative for this Saturday's tournament? Discover. All right. What are you going to run against it? Don't say that. What are you going to run? What are you going to run when you're negative? What? Critique. What critique? The we critique. They don't say we. It's not called the we satellite. The satellite didn't wee all the way up to space like the tape in that commercial. What? The spending disadvantage. So one of the things you could do is a spending disadvantage. What else could you do? George, what are you going to run against Discover? Like 30 counterplans? And say conditionality is good? She's like, I will punch George out. One of the things that we need to learn how to do, and the people who prepared for the 2ACs are going to prepare this now for tomorrow. And the people who did their 2ACs today will not go tomorrow. Or, I mean, I'll try to do everything. I want to be AF now, and you to be negative. One of the things that I think personally that I'm best at in debate is what to do as far as negative strategy versus a very specific affirmative, like Discover. So what do? What can you do? Should you brainstorm all the best things? Should you brainstorm before you research? Maybe. Yes? Should you brainstorm after? Yes.
Yeah, I think better research before you.
Should your brainstorming determine the arguments, or should the evidence determine the arguments? Evidence, so the evidence should guide your brainstorming. Does that make sense? What else? Who knows how to research here? What's your go-to research site? Google. Oh, sit down the way you are. Where? Wikipedia. That's like crisscross applesauce on the ground, man.
Google News.
Google News. Google News can be all right for very, very current events. Yeah. There is a part of Google that is awesome and free. Who said that? George!
What?
George wins today. Who knows what Google Scholar is?
Scholarly article.
Education.
Alright, everyone shut their computer so I can get on the internet.
No, but
I know. Or if someone has a computer that has the internet, that would work too. Hey, Jimmy, internet?
No.
Hotspot.
I'm the internet boy. You turn off the internet.
Hotspot?
Turn it off and turn it back on.
You can use my hotspot.
Hey, how fast is it gonna take for them to run out of this?
Hold up for 10 seconds.
Okay, turn it off for 10 seconds.
And we'll get ready.
They're gonna come running out of that room in 3, 2,
No, they can't get in.
1. Oh.
Oh, yeah. You didn't turn it on. You didn't turn it on. No. Is it on? I don't have to hear it. Turn it back on. Turn it back on. Alex,
Hey, I did.
You did? Right there. Oh, shoot. Mine. No, you didn't. You did turn it back on. You didn't. Be ready. Refresh. TDA.
Can anyone connect?
No, not
Real connect. I connected.
I can't.
Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it. Yes.
Turn it back on.
No!
Success.
Yeah, turn it back on.
No, we're not turning it on because I got the internet.
Yay.
Alright.
No! Why? Stop!
Oh, we don't want it to be loading again.
Three.
Alright. The reason most of you, hey, that's like, a third of a penny. Don't run after it.
It's 50 and you.
Alright.
Get the third of a penny.
The reason most of you didn't know about Google Scholar
That's honest.
is because it's under more. Or not. Maybe not in Taiwan.
But it is. It is.
Holy God.
It is.
Oh, there we go. Does anyone see it?
Yes, there. Brain thingy. Brain thingy. Are you going?
Alright, what are we looking? Solar storms, maybe? Do we want a solar storms impact? Holy goodness, what did I just find? The article that first popped up that I can get in a PDF from Dartmouth says that shielding the electrical grid from solar storms. What does that mean? Let's click that. Ooh.
Make it.
That sounds like a counterplan, doesn't it?
Dark.
So I'm clicking the PDF.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, there's a lot utilities can do and some things they cannot do. For instance, series capacitors could be used to block the flow of GIC in transmission lines or neutral blocking capacitors in transformer neutrals. I have no idea what this means. It's no easy task. So basically what this is saying is that we could just fix the grid to make a solar storm and not wipe it out. Is that a counterplan? Does that solve the grid being wiped out by a solar storm? Alright, if this was the electrical grid, right? Because it's made out of plastic, it's susceptible to a solar storm. My counterplan takes this and puts aluminum around it. And because it's made out of aluminum now, the grid can't conduct a solar storm. How would this counterplan compete? Could we say, like, launching a satellite is bad? So then the permutation would link to the counterplan, wouldn't it? Would that be a good negative strategy? Why?
Just commute, do both. Why not?
Because the counterplan does not launch a satellite, so maybe it doesn't cause pollution, which destroys the ozone. Ozone disad.
You'd have to have one.
You know, maybe I launch satellite in the United States, and that causes money to be spent. Instead, this country, Ukraine, says, we'll launch the satellite for you for no money. Counterplan. Ukraine launches it. Net benefit, spending disadvantage. Well, gee, Scott, does that exist? Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should look in the TDA Dropbox for the Discover neg. The counterplan solves the whole case. Ukraine offered to launch Discover for free. Donahue in 11. Ukraine offered to send Discover to L1 on a Ukrainian rocket for free, and the satellite was built. The launch was free. What did NASA say? The launch wouldn't be safe for the satellite.
Yeah, but you could argue that then if the satellite's going to, if Ukraine's rocket is going to blow up halfway off the launch pad, that's the end of the satellite.
Sure, you could. I could read a piece of evidence that says Ukraine's rockets are safer than the United States is. We'll have a debate. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to group up with people that have the internet, or one person per team get the internet. If you have 4, shut your computer down until someone else can.
I told you.
You have the internet? Is your team?
I told
Your team? George.
Wait, does that mean partners or?
Partners. Hey, does any partnership not have the internet? Do you not have it? You don't have it? I'll log off, see if we can get on. Can one of you log off?
What are you saying?
We're not using today.
No, I just log out to you.
7 to 4.
See if you can get on it. So, I want you to research using Google Scholar for what you're going to do on the negative against Discover for about a half hour or so. See what you come up with.
Just in case you get too busy with the debate on the U.S.
Huh? Which ones? Were they big ones? Oh, those are all Democratic states. Not British. It used to be. Because in Maryland, if there's a primary, it doesn't matter. For Republicans, because they're Republicans and all that. So I have friends that are diehard Republicans, and they're registered Democrats because, mainly because of the Obama-Clinton primary issue. And I don't think Romney's he should be Life of real study, you need freedom. So has that far.
Yeah.